اليوم يعني يعتبر يوم صمغ عربي بامتياز. الأخوان دكتور أحمد ودكتور أبو القاسم غطوا جوانب مهمة عن الصمغ العربي. أنا إن شاء الله حألغي بعض الضوء على جوانب أخرى عن الصمغ العربي. Prof. Alam, thank you for giving me this opportunity and the platform to shed some light on the importance of gum Arabic manufacturing by the spray drying technology, which will have positive impact on Sudan economy, producers, and investors. Exported processed added value products is in line with the Sudanese government policy and the Gum Arabic Board national strategy. Gum Arabic, also known as gum acacia, is produced mainly from two types of trees, Acacia Senegal tree and Acacia Sayal tree. The Acacia Senegal called locally as Hashab, or the gum produced called Hashab gum, and the Acacia Sayal gum called Talha gum. The green belt. Hello?
صوتك مسموع، تفضل يا دكتور أسامة.
Okay. Gum Arabic trees or gum Arabic acacia trees grow naturally in Africa in what is called gum belt, shows in this green strip. And the gum acacia trees grow between latitudes 10 and 14 north. Most of the main gum producing countries, Sudan, Chad, Mali, and Senegal, and Sudan considered the largest producer of gum Arabic. Gum Arabic processed or cleaned using manual cleaning or mechanical or spray drying. I'm going to concentrate more on this talk about the spray drying process as a way of adding value to the gum Arabic product. The manual cleaning of gum, there is a basic cleaning done to remove the bark, using trays and sieves. The mechanical process, which is the plant comprising of vibrating sieve, sorting belt, hammer mill for kibbling the gum or grinding the gum nodules, which produce granules. Gum is important to reduce the size of the gum nodules to allow the gum to dissolve in water quickly. There is another step of milling the kibble gum using what's called bean mills to produce mechanical powder. We can see here the lump gum, sometimes we call it hand-picked selected, and the kibble gum on the left, Acacia Senegal gum, and then the mechanical powder below the Acacia Senegal mechanical powder, and the talha. All these mechanical products also are subjected to some sort of cleaning, but still contain a fair amount of impurities. And also there is no processing step to control the microbiological quality of the gum. So if it's gum contaminated by any pathogenic bacteria, E. coli, salmonella, there is no any step to ensure that the gum is safe and free from any harmful microorganism. And also exporting this mechanical product does not give good value for the product. So the export return is very poor. That's why we we have to process the gum into form, spray-dried gum to increase the add value of the product. The spray drying process, the spray drying helps to remove all the impurities from raw gum. So it's purify the gum and produce more than 99.9% pure gum, and also to ensure the produced gum is free from pathogenic microorganisms and allow the customer to use it directly in their finished product without further cleaning. Most of food and pharmaceutical industries use spray-dried gum arabic in their finished products. This chart showing the spray drying process steps, which is I've been working in spray drying business for a long time, and this shows exactly the step how to produce spray drying gum. So it's not a difficult technology. It's not. It is straightforward. That was always showing this chart to encourage investors to use or to manufacture gum or to establish spray drying plants and to do. So there is no any worry about the technology of the spray drying. So basically, we start with kibble gum, dissolve it in water and dissolving vessels, then pass through vibrating sieve to remove large impurities, followed by the sedimentation tank. Then the gum pass through ultrafine screens, where it's about 200 micron sieves, where for the cleaning of the gum, followed by very important step of cleaning, which is the separators or centrifuge. The centrifuge removes the heavy fine impurities by the centrifugation force, and then the feed or the gum solution goes to the next step, which ultrafine filters like 25 and 50 micron size. Sometimes we call it bag filters. And the purpose of these filters to remove the lightweight fine impurities, because sometimes you find it floating or it's very difficult for the separators to remove these fine lightweight impurities. The next step is very important, the pasteurization or the heat treatment or heat exchanger. You subject the gum solution to mild heat treatment to control or to ensure that there is no any harmful or pathogenic bacteria or microorganism in the product, and also to reduce the total count of the bacteria and the yeast and mold. Then the gum goes to the buffer tank, where it's pumped using high pressure pumps to the jets or atomizer in the drying chamber. The atomizer and jets job is to reduce the size of the gum solution droplets into very small size to increase the surface area, which allow the heat in the drying chamber to evaporate the water from the gum solution. And here, after this step, we the spray dry, we can call this is spray dried gum, but there is a further processing step, is fluid bed, which is the purpose of that to produce agglomerated spray dried gum. And the reason for that, or the benefit of adding this processing step, is to increase the dissolving characteristic of the spray dried gum, and also to produce environmentally friendly product, because when you empty the bag of the agglomerated product, it reduces the dust around the area where you empty the bag. Normally, for the fluid bed, you make a bed of the spray dried particles, then you spray water, help to stick the particle together and make like the clusters, and which is definitely increase the dissolving and the dispersibility and the hydration of the gum arabic. Gum arabic used in wide range of application, and you can see this is there is a different type of product. This is just a selected of product that I wanted just to show how is important, and also for the investors to know where is the market of the gum arabic, and all these products contain spray dried gum arabic. So even if you Google it, you will find gum arabic is part of the ingredients of this product. So it's not just theoretical for me to say it. For gum drops, say for example, confectionery is a traditional application of gum arabic. Most it's used, maybe sometimes the usage reach 45% of gum drops. Gum arabic or spray dried gum arabic used here to prevent the sugar crystallization. In toffees, gum arabic use functioning as emulsifier. In nuts coated chocolates like this Ferrero Rocher and M&M product, they add gum solution to make film or seal around the nuts to prevent the raising or the seeping of oil and moisture from the nuts to the surface. And the purpose of that is to keep the chocolate coat crunchy. In chewing gum, gum used, spray dried gum used here as binding and controlling the flavor release, just making the flavor last longer in the mouth. The Coca-Cola, Pepsi is a famous product that using gum acacia or gum arabic. Gum arabic used here as emulsifier, and gum arabic is considered the gold standard of emulsifiers, as mentioned earlier. So if there's any research group want to evaluate the emulsion capacity of any product, they have to use the gum arabic as a reference. The encapsulated powder, gum arabic also used with oil soluble flavors, oil soluble vitamin like vitamin D. I know it's very important nowadays. Most of the people start taking a supplement of D, vitamin D, to combat the COVID problem. Anyway, all these vitamin oil soluble like vitamin D and flavors, most of the flavors are oils, and also the food colors. All these products is spray dried by gum arabic. Gum arabic works as encapsulating agent. So you add this oil soluble product, and then you add the gum solution. You make emulsion, and you spray dry. After you spray dry, you end up having a powder, flavor powder. Say for example, when you dissolve the powder, flavor powder, then the gum dissolves the film around the droplet flavor, and then it releases flavor. So it's a very interesting application for gum and used widely. Nuts or peanuts, gum arabic used as adhesive for adheres seasoning on the nuts like salt and other seasoning. So it used also many nuts production. We have here in UK, KB nuts and some others companies. They use gum acacia, especially acacia sayar gum, to help to add the seasoning on the nuts and also make a film. Bakery industry or breads, gum arabic used as a soluble fiber source. and also as a bread improver, it's increased volume because the volume of the dough, because the gum absorb more moisture, and where some companies they use they use white bread and add the gum as a soluble fiber, so it give you, although they remove the fiber by removing the cortex or the outer shell of the wheat, which reduce the fiber content of the gum of the bread, but by adding gum acacia to replace the fiber that lost, and also keeping the taste of the white bread. Oh, by the way, the gum arabic has a plain taste and plain odor, so it can be used as any product without affecting the organoleptic property of the finished product. That's why it's very helping, or does not cause any problem by using in many applications. Here, this group in Malaysia, they done excellent job. They published many papers proving that adding gum solution to vegetable and fruits will increase the shelf life of the fruit and for many days. And economically, this is very interesting news. In the same way, like in apple. The apples, they use wax around the apples to increase the shelf life. And here, gum arabic is an edible product and can do the same job. The drinking probiotic yogurt, spray-dried, used as a prebiotic in this type of product to increase the number of the probiotic bacteria, the beneficial bacteria, and also is helping this probiotic bacteria to grow and to increase the growth and activity. And so it's proven that the spray-dried product we're giving very excellent result on this type of product. The pharmaceutical tablets, say for example, this Nurofen tablets is a UK product. It's gum arabic used as a glazing agent, and also for cough lozenges. Gum arabic used at high level of consumption or usage and give control of the flavor. In non-food industry, gum arabic used in ink, in printing industry, in fireworks, in watercolors, with fertilizers, and with ceramics. So sometimes I say, you name it, gum in it, because there is very wide range of application of the gum, and this is mainly to do with favorite physicochemical characteristic of or property of the gum arabic. Okay. Professor Alam said earlier, without data, no investment or development. So I want to show some data about what's gum produced, where it's sold, what is the market, before I go to talk about the feasibility of the spray drying plant in Sudan. This data is extracted from International Trade Center, so it might be slightly different than the quantity or the figures that shown by the Gum Arabic Board. But this is what's shown on the International Trade Center, and show the export quantities that detected or by this international organization. In 2019, Sudan produced about 72,000 tons of gum Arabic or exported. I have to be more precise because it is export. So maybe the production, there is some local consumption of gum Arabic locally in Sudan. But Sudan exported around 72,000 tons. And this is represent about 70% of the gum export. Mali and Senegal, then Chad and Mali and Senegal. Mali and Senegal used to export few hundreds of tons, and now their export reach thousands of tons. On the gum Arabic annual import of gum Arabic, that from Sudan and other African countries, you can see here France imports nearly 50% of the gum export because they have the two biggest producers of spray-dried gum Arabic. And recently or last month, one of these French spray-dried company announced that they installed their fourth spray dryer to increase their spray-dried production from 20,000 to 29,000 tons. And then India used most of their import. Talha, they use it for traditional popular dish called singludu, is consumed by pregnant and lactating women. France, on this graph is showing where the Sudanese gum goes to the most top 5 export markets. France, Germany, UK, and USA. All of those are spray-dried gum manufacturers. So if you add the French imported gum plus the gum went to Germany, UK, and USA, this is equivalent about 70% of the Sudanese gum Arabic goes for the spray drying process. So I'm showing that just to give you an idea. What is the market of the spray dried? How much of the gum Arabic being processed or spray dried? So this figure shows around 70% of our gum processed or into spray dried gum form. Gum Arabic top 5 exporter. Here I'm going to talk about those countries are exporting gum, but they are not producer of gum Arabic. So that means they are exporting processed gum, mainly spray dried gum Arabic. You can see France is exporting, what is here? France exported about 42 tons, and then some of the country, UK, Germany, and USA. But earlier I showed that in one of the slides. France imported about 48,000 tons, and now re-exported 42,520. This is about 6,000 tons difference. This 6,000 tons difference, there is 4,000 tons of these 6,000 tons is a losses during the spray drying process, because 4% losses being in moisture, because the moisture of the raw gum is about average 13%, and for the spray dry product about 9%. So you have about 4% losses of moisture, and add to it about 4% losses of impurities. When you remove the impurities from the raw material, that equivalent of about nearly 2,000. So altogether, about 4,000 tons will be lost during the spray drying process. So from these figures, there is 2,000 tons left. So most probably is consumed locally in France. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the investment on gum Arabic spray drying plants. I'm going to talk first saying about the opportunities of investing of spray drying plant in Sudan, and removing Sudan from the state list that is sponsoring terrorists is expected to encourage investors to invest in Sudan. I know most of the speakers today, they highlight the importance of lifting the sanction from Sudan. So I just hope this happen as soon as possible. And as we know, this is going to help also the financial transaction, which can be done directly with the Sudanese bank, and help also to reduce the costs that resulted of conducting trades via other countries. That is exactly what's happening now in trade. Most of the business in Sudan is not done directly with the customer, is done through other countries. And definitely this will be added cost to do that. I add to that also lifting the sanction and the direct contact with the Sudanese bank from the customers. That will help the Central Bank of Sudan to have more control on the foreign export foreign currency retail, which I know is a big issue nowadays. Manufacturing spray dried gum in Sudan. This is where the best known high quality gum Arabic. I'm sure this will give more assurance about the quality, because you produce the gum where the place where the highest quality of the gum there, and also will it'll give more assurance also about the supply. If there is a shortage, if there is any low production same season, because the plant is not far from the production area, so will be priority, of course, for the local spray drying plant to source their needs for the production. Variable cost for spray drying will gum Arabic in Sudan is expected to be cheaper. Variable cost is including the cost of raw gum and manufacturing cost is expected to be cheaper in comparison to Europe and USA. And also the production in Sudan, or the spray drying in Sudan, will allow us to use the byproduct product, because the spray drying process is got the ability to remove any impurities. So instead of just classify this is low grade, fine, or dust material and throw it away, or sell it cheap, we can transform this byproduct into good spray dried product, and which will the return will be high as well. The shelf life.
أسامة، يا ريت لو مشيت سروا الحاجات اللي ممكن تعمل لها هايلايت، لأنه الزمن بس بقى ما في صالحنا.
Okay, I'm trying to go quick, but
لأنه لسه في أسئلة كثير راجعك إن شاء الله حتجاوب عليها.
لا ما مشكلة، احنا مستعدين لأي أسئلة، بس أنا طيب إن شاء الله حاول go quick. Okay. The shelf life study I've done by myself, shelf life study on spray dried gum Arabic for over 10 years, and the result was quality hasn't changed because the spray-dried moisture content is very low, and the relative low pH of this gum is not favorable environment for the microorganism to grow. Spray-dried gum arabic used for many years in wide range of application, as explained earlier. Increase demand for natural health ingredients. The health and wellness are front of mind of most consumers. Gum arabic is a plant product or green ingredients, and this is fulfills the huge increased demand for vegetarian, vegan, plant-based, and clean label ingredients. Scientific research also proven that the spray-dried gum has more than 90% soluble prebiotic fiber, and most of the spray-dried gum arabic manufacturers promote or market the gum as prebiotic. In gum arabic also is known to be safe in food. The EFSA in 2017 stated that gum arabic is no need to specify acceptably daily intake for it. Also, there is a huge potential, as earlier Dr. Ahmed was, and also Dr. Bulgatim was touching on those points. There is a huge potential for using gum arabic as a nutraceutical supplement. It helps improving natural immunity system, antioxidant, adverse effect of CRF. I think Dr. Bulgatim shown some personal experience about the CRF patients. Is lower blood sugar with diabetes too, has satiety effect and promote weight loss, and also help to relieve IBS symptoms, reduce the dental plaque, and many other health benefits. The spray dryer, this is also important because we're not just using the spray dryer for spray drying gum arabic. The spray dryer can be utilized for many other production of other products. It can be used such products such as instant flavor beverages, dietary fiber powder. It seems like it's tank powder, but it's not. It's very healthy powder. It's not. It's got gum arabic with flavor, which is produced fiber and very nutraceutical product. So basically, gum arabic with the flavor is encapsulating the say, for example, the tabaldi, the banana, guava, orange, mango, lime, and other Sudanese local products. So all of these flavors or local produced product can be spray dried with gum arabic, and you end up having beverage powder has very high nutraceutical value and dissolve very quick. A spray dryer also can utilize to produce milk powder especially during the milk season, where there is high amount of milk produced. Also, gum is the spray drying gum arabic is a spray dryer can use to produce food color with gum arabic, like anatu, paprika, turmeric, hibiscus. All these food color known internationally because it's a natural food color. It can be produced by gum as a carrier. Garlic, onion, caramel, yeast powder, all these type of product also can be spray dried with a spray dryer. So there is a multifunction of the spray dryer. It's not just only gum arabic. Okay. So we talked previously about opportunities. I'm going to give you just some points about the constraints about gum, about investing on gum arabic plant, the spray drying plant. One of the constraints establishing global trade agreement with major with major importers and customers. We must invest in marketing efforts to promote our spray dried gum arabic product. We also compete with European and USA spray dried gum arabic manufacturers that are in the markets for decades. we will be able to compete by producing high quality spray-dried gum arabic at lower cost and implementing good manufacturing practices, achieving international quality certifications such as FSCC 22000 and HACCP and other certification. Also, there is more increased people now. Also, they have to have kosher and halal certificate with their product. Most of the consumer ask for those certificates. Also, adding more tax on the export of raw. Sorry?
ندي فرصه للاسئله ممكن تجاوب.
ما انا انتهيت بس اديني بس دقيقه بس ولا دقيقتين.
كويس تفضل.
معلش يا دكتور بس
لا معلش. بس
تفضل لي 1 ولا 2 سلايد بس.
كويس تفضل.
بعد ده انا يورز.
اوكي تفضل.
سوري about that, دكتور علي. Also adding more tax on the export of raw gum arabic and reduce the tax on spray-dried gum arabic. This is gives also I'm giving investment incentive package for gum Arabic spray drying manufacture. All these measures will strengthen our position on the spray dried gum market, because if you export raw gum, there is more tax. If you export spray dried, there is less. So it help us to be more compatible or on the market in Europe or other international spray-dried gum Arabic market. Irregularity of supply and consequently wide fluctuating prices. We need to put more effort on looking after the gum Arabic trees and farmers and improve the tree tapping and gum collection techniques. Also improve the crop markets condition and function in the major production areas. Spray drying need high capital cost investment. Fabricating spray dryers in Europe costs around maybe about $6 to $8 million. But if it's sourced from China and India, the cost will be much cheaper than that.
I've lost interest. I wish we'd spend the time on the people's presentation.
Investment, here just summary based on feasibilities studies. This is just shows the worst case scenario of I'm not inflating the profits, so I just shows figures which show the worst case scenario at the lowest price of selling price of spray dried. So we can add value 100%. That means 2 times of the price of the Acacia Senegal. 300% add value. That means about 4 times of the price of the Acacia Sayal gum. Based on variable cost, the profit percentage expected for spray dried Acacia Senegal about 60%, and profit for spray dried Acacia Sayal gum about 100%. The payback period is less than 3 years. So the conclusion, investment in gum Arabic spray drying plant is very feasible. Thank you.
شكرا يا دكتور.
Try just to be quick as possible.
كويس. ندي فرصة اللي هو لسؤال اللي هو في like how much economic value does the rice bring add to the raw gum Arabic? How much economic value does dry
that's what I mentioned. Is going to be add values. It's about from 2 to 4 times the generated income or export income from the raw material. So nearly 4 times the foreign currency retain. So this is by itself, it's a good investment, and not to mention the if it's produced with other like beverage powders, that is more high value product, or vitamins. This is much higher. I'm just, when I mentioned this 2 or 4 times, this is when you export purely spray dried gum. But if you export beverage powder with gum Arabic, if you export supplements like vitamin D or medical or supplement, is huge, the outcome. And also the having more labor and giving opportunity for developing the business. So I can talk more with the benefit of having. It is a policy, government policy is a policy that everybody talked about it. الصناعات التحويلية هي واحدة من الأشياء. بما أنت دكتور, this is your area يعني, and you have pilot plant in your department, and there is opportunity to develop all these products into very valuable high earning foreign currency products.
اوكي. طيب برضو في سؤال بيقول لك طيب فرنسا بترسل لمنو بالضبط؟ يعني فرنسا
فرنسا انا كان عندي exactly I trade center table. I can send him to this person if you can send him an email. His email, the exact figures. But the market of I've looked at it a few days ago. I think USA maybe nearly 9,000 a ton goes to USA. You see how much this USA market. They already import gum for their own spray drying production, and they import nearly about 8,000 or 9,000 ton from France. Then they have I think they're increasing. They have a market in China, huge market. Then most of their sale, I think, in Europe, Russia, and Asia.
اوكي. في دكتورة سلمى بابكر قالت لك في امريكا بدت في امازون، قالت المنتجات بتاعت الصمغ العربي بقت تصل هناك، وقالت لك هل في رقابه وقيود ومنافع تعود على السودان في مثل هذه الاستثمارات العالميه؟
Certainly not. And who, by the way, when you're selling gum at in smaller size like Amazon and eBay and all these market, the margin is huge. When I mention here 2 times, 3 times, I'm talking about selling like container load deal or orders. But the prices in Amazon and eBay and these smaller package like kilo, half a kilo, maybe you might your margin هامش الربح ممكن يزيد ل 10% or 10 times maybe the price of the actual material. But the answer is no, because it's not exported directly from Sudan to Amazon. This is done by some of the European. ده الكلام اللي قاعدين نقوله، يعني بدل ما نستفيد other European countries بالمارجن، احنا اولى نستفيد بالمارجن. هم زي spread right 70% of our gum, and they take all these they يستفيدوا منه. فنحن اولى the higher large producer of the gum, and we export it as raw gum, which is a shame يعني. لكن having said that, أنا I'm not suggesting to have a war يعني against الكمباني، بل بالعكس أنا نشجعهم نخش في شراكات ذكية، إنه يجوا هم ويخشوا زي ما ذكروا قبل شوية في شراكات محلية في السودان ويستثمروا، يعملوا مصانع في السودان. وين وين سيتويشن، هم يستفيدوا ونحن نستفيد، يعني بالعكس ممكن نشجعهم. بعدين the more we have، يعني أنا gum Arabic company أنا proposing to do spray dryer because قد ما دي مثلا other companies يكونوا competitive ليا، لكن في النهاية أنا ما بنظر لها من الناحية دي، بنظر لها إنه يعني إحنا لو عندنا 10 15 spray dryer، 5 spray dryer in Sudan، we might reach to a stage to have a law not to export only spray dried gum, not raw material. لكن أنا I wanted I know the national gum board national strategy قال within 5 years they wanted to stop exporting raw gum. Also أنا more favorite إنه يكون في تدريج، يعني أنت ما عندك infrastructure to reach this stage وتقول أنا قفلت الإكسبورت until you have enough spray drying plant that capable of spray drying say 70 or 80% of our gum. Then you can introduce high taxes of raw material and low tax of spray dried. I mentioned this earlier in a discussion, I think last webinar. We went to India. We found one of the 2 French manufacturers. They have joint venture in India to produce gum Arabic, spray dried gum Arabic there. Then we استغربنا ليه بيعملوا، ليه ما جه السودان، ليه بيعملوا هناك؟ عرفنا انه انديا بتفرض 60% تاكس على الامبورت اوف سبراي دراي جم، لكن there is 0 tax on raw gum Arabic import to India. So by just يعني legalize or خدوا سياسة ضريبية معينة without انه تشيح وش القباحه وتشتم الناس وده عداء وما عداء، انت بس تاخذ سياساتك تدريجيا حتشجع الناس تعمل السبراي درايد جم، لانه ما حيكون very competitive if a raw gum reach say France ولا USA at very high prices, their manufacturing cost will be very high, so they will not be competitive enough to compete with our spray dried gum. So by doing this, you support the marketing force of Sudan.
نعم دكتور أسامة إدريس، شكرا جزيلا، وحقيقة يعني very interesting presentation، وده بشهادة الحضور جميعا، وفعلا معلومات قيمة استفدنا منها، وشكرا جزيلا.
بنحلم بفضاء أوسع، بنحلم بزمن أجمل، بلاد ميلاد، بلاد ميلاد. بنحلم بفضاء أوسع، بنحلم بزمن أجمل، بلاد ممتد لحد حدود